Oh, okay. Forgive me, I'm not familiar with the. There you go. Is that better, John?
Can you see to read?
Yes.
It's better for us too.
Okay, good. Would you like, do you want to see the previous slide? Or, okay. We do need to go back. There we go. I'd just like to, many of you are probably aware of where the school is planned to be located, but for those of you who may be new to the town, I'd like to let you know where it's going to be. If I can just orient you, here's the center of town, the high school and the middle school. Here is Route 62. Here is Swan Pond Road. And over here is Hannah Graves Way through the new development McIntyre Crossing. It's planned that the school buses and major school traffic will proceed through Hannah Graves Way and McIntyre Crossing for the school, not through, I know there was some concern when the plan was presented earlier that there were the twists and turns of Bigham Road and Hemlock. This will not be the major access for the school. The straight shot up here through McIntyre and Hannah Graves Way will be the major access to the school. Now to the site plan. Here is Hannah Graves Way, Swan Pond Road. The buses will come in here, drop off in front of the building. Here is the front door. Parking for 60 cars here, 20, and 20 here for about 100 parking spaces. And there's some hardtop and play area for the older children, and you'll see here that these are the classrooms for the older children when we get to the next floor plan, and the playing field out front here. Here's the layout of the first floor of the building, and again, forgive me that this is small, but I wanted to give you an idea. 8 classrooms here, a kindergarten area with a pre-K over here. Pre-K does not currently exist at the batch, and we do need another one to meet program needs in North Reading. The administrative offices and the main entrance, the gym and the cafeteria, and one feature here will be a retractable door that can open and be used in town for large groups and also for the schools so they're not packed in during presentations and such. On to the second floor. Again, the classrooms above the first floor classrooms, 4 more classrooms here, science and computer, the gym is below here, and the library in front, which also will have nice big windows, and when we get to, let's see, the next view I can show you that and orient you outside. Here's the library on the second floor, the kindergarten wing with a small playground for younger children over here. Oops. Thank you. The major classroom wing and the bus drop off in the front. The roof is sloped, not pitched. Reason being, I know there's been a lot of concern in town about that issue. The reasons being to be as disruptive as possible to the surrounding community and natural topography at Swan Pond, so the building doesn't extend virtually if you put a pitched roof on 3 stories as opposed to 2. So to try to minimize the disruption to the neighborhood there, and also for cost factors, as we learned at the Hood School, it's really more economic, and with warranties and such, we feel that a sloped roof is appropriate. The alternative, of course, to building the school is not to build the school, but we'd like everyone to be aware that that does not mean it's free and that we go on and don't spend any money at the schools. We'll need modular classrooms at several sites in town. The modular classrooms on the batch, which are in the historic district and have been given permission for a limited time to be there, will have to stay. The beautiful new library, music, and art room that we're putting on at the Hood School and the new facilities, similar new facilities at the Little School, may be taken over for classrooms. There may be periodic spot redistricting. The superintendent is not going to let school sizes grow large in one school while they stay minimal in the other. So children across the town will be subject to not necessarily moving back and forth, but it's not inconceivable that a family could have one student in one school and a kindergartner in another school, and avoiding the disruption that goes with something like that. Continued expensive repairs at the batch. The roof leaks, the boilers, the temperature is terribly uneven throughout the building. One of the classrooms is sub-level, virtually in the basement, and floods repeatedly. And again, the standards in the batch that the classrooms are small, they need to be upgraded for technology. so continuing to pour money into that building does not really seem to be the prudent thing to do. True, we're going to reuse the batch and have to renovate it for the reuse, but not to the code and the standards and the cost that it would cost to renovate that as a school. And finally, because I believe that the school committee and the town is committed to the elementary school needs, we won't be able to move on to those needs at the middle or the high school until we solve the elementary school problem. So those are some of the reasons that we feel that building the new school at Swan Pond is prudent at this point in time. Finally, Swan Pond School is eligible for state reimbursement. The current rate is 64%. If we postpone and wait longer, the reimbursement may not be there or may not be there to the level it is current. So to take advantage of your tax dollars and state monies, we feel also that it's prudent to move ahead now. Also, construction inflation is a concern. The school was $10.5 million a couple of years ago. Now the projection is $12 million. Why? Inflation and construction inflation, because of the big dig and the real estate market in general, that's outpaced regular across the board inflation in the town. The school's only going to get more expensive, not cheaper. So we also feel that that's another reason to approach it now. I know that this has been a really brief tour and a very brief background into the reasons the school is needed, but we have a lot to get to tonight. I hope that you consider this carefully as an overall capital needs plan in North Reading, and at the end there'll be ample opportunity for questions, and we'd love to have your input. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Marcy. Moving on to the next facilities need, is the need for a new police station to accommodate our police department. And I'd like to call on Mr. Ed Barletta, the Police Station Building Committee.
Good evening, and thank you all for taking the time to come. First, I just want to mention the current police station for 1 minute. It's in very poor condition. It does not suit our needs. It gets more deplorable every day. Anyone who's toured it or would like to tour it, please let me or Eddie Nolan know. We'd be glad to show you. I won't say too much about that. I want to get on to the new station. The new station will be built on free town land behind the current town hall. The building will be 2-story, 19,000 square feet. It will be built to support the police department's needs for the next 25 years, so we won't have to go through these problems again for a long time. It will have a pitched roof. Now you'll notice everyone mentions their roofs. We have a roof problem. We've had a roof problem in this town, and I don't think we're going to have any more roof problems with our new buildings. The cost of this building and the equipment in it is $5,475,000. With interest, it's $8,924,000. Unfortunately, there is no state nor federal reimbursement at this current time. We have checked with both Senator Kerry and Senator Kennedy, and there is no federal money, nor is there any state money to reimburse. That's why it's so important to get this police station taken care of, because every year we wait, the only thing that goes up is the interest and the cost. The current police building will be turned over to the fire department for their use. If anyone's interested, we have a model of the police station we want to build right out front, and you may take the top of that model off and you will see the interior design. I don't have any slides because when we originally got our information from the architect, he gave us paste boards which you wouldn't be able to read from that distance. So we decided to bring the model in. Again, I want to emphasize there are a lot of needs in town. I agree the school is a definite need. The police department is one of the priorities with the school. If we can take care of these two projects in the time frame of the next 3 years, we'll get ourselves going in a good advance to our other problems, and I think we can solve the other problems down the line. But right now, the school and the police department should be your main thoughts as you consider all these projects. Thank you.
During the course of discussion after the presentation of the Swan Pond school proposal a couple of years ago, as well as the police station proposal that was put forth about a year and a half ago, and we were unable to muster the necessary support within the community to fund these things. One of the recurring questions, in addition to, what's the big plan, was what was going to happen to the bachelor school. Again, what F.U.M.P has done, and I'd just like to point this out again, is that what you're hearing tonight is a proposal by this Facilities Use Master Plan Committee, which is a consensus of this body here, which had a whole host of individual interest groups getting together to try and formulate a plan which would meet the needs of the community over the next 25 plus years. And again, not everybody got what they looked for. Not everybody got every piece of the puzzle that they were looking for. But what we have is a good, solid plan which will meet the needs of the community. And again, one of the major recurring questions was what was going to happen to the bachelor school. So to address the bachelor school reuse, we'll call on the town administrator, Tom Younger, and then we'll call on Superintendent Troughton and Howard Solomon. Mr. Younger.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you everybody here who showed up, and thank you everybody who's watching on television. The reuse of the bachelor school was probably one of the more interesting aspects of the entire program. It was one of the questions that were kept asked to us when we went to this prior, is what will you be doing with the bachelor school? Nobody wanted to have a vacant building, really one of that magnitude, left in the town center. Well, first, the town looked at private uses for that property. They included a reuse of office space, assisted living, independent living. And each of those aspects brought a different, you might say, glitch or problem to all those private uses on that site, particularly one being a zoning issue, since that property is zoned residential A, it would have to be rezoned for those uses. Then the board and F.U.M.P looked at other public uses for that property, and there was a multiple of public uses. Fire station, police station, town hall, all combinations thereof, standalones and such. We looked at every one of them. We looked at the cost, we looked at the benefits, and what came up was the best cost benefit for the town we could determine was the combined use of school administrative offices and town hall. As the public knows, the school administrative offices are located in the middle school, and obviously there's a space issue regarding the administrative offices, which Dr. Troughton can speak to. As far as on the town hall end, right now we are maintaining approximately about 25,000 square feet of space at the Murphy Center. The bachelor school, according to our consultants, their size of that facility is 39,300 square feet. It appears at this point, I think the school may utilize 6,000 square feet of administrative space in the middle school. So we do have approximately almost 9,000 square feet of available additional space in the bachelor school for our uses. So the F.U.M.P determined that that would be the best cost beneficial use of that space. The estimated cost is $4.4 million. That was the cost that one of our consultants came up with in the determination. We have no finalized plans of where offices are. We do not have any design work there. Preliminary discussions appear that the school offices would be on the top of the building, and that the town hall uses would be on the lower end of the building. The building right now is approximately 83 years old, the upper end. The two wings on the side are 70, and the annex is about 51 years old. The main cost of the $4.4 million would have the building meet the Massachusetts Architectural Access Board and Americans with Disability Act guidelines. There would appear to be at least one elevator, possibly two, that would have to be installed in that building to meet these guidelines. There would also have to be new entrances placed in that building, because right now, if the school had the top end, the entrances would be there. We'd have to design an end for the town hall on the bottom end, because that end faces out toward Park Street. It's kind of backwards right now in the school as far as the location goes, as far as the main entrance. So there would be two main entrances at this point. Parking spaces would also have to be restructured. Right now, there's approximately 64 parking spaces at the bachelor school. to include handicap spaces as well as to meet the parking standards of